welcome back to FHL Community Episodes. Last week we talked about the introduction, the first part of social capital. We need vision in order for us to share and paint an ideal future. I shared the speech of Dr. Martin Luther King, I Had a Dream, and also JFK just before he really inspired the nation to go to the moon. And those things, just like this is impossible. But because of the power of vision casting, he was able, that this mighty people were able to bring not just a community, not just a city, but the entire nation to come up with the resources needed, whether it's recruiting other volunteers, whether it's, in our context, doing food drive, writing checks, introducing to other influential people or influencers, and that's what social capital is all about. So let me remind you again by reading this the definition of social capital based on Wikipedia. So it says here it's the networks of relationships among people who live and work in a particular society, enabling that society to function effectively. It involves the effective functioning of social groups through interpersonal relationships, a shared sense of identity, a shared understanding, shared norms, shared values, trust, cooperation, and reciprocity. Social capital is a measure of the value of resources, both tangible, that is, public spaces, private property, and intangible, that is, actors, human capital, people, and the impact of these relationships have on the resources involved in its relationship and on larger groups. It is generally seen as a form of capital that produces public goods for a common purpose. I know that's just like very technical, but basically you can see the key words there, interpersonal relationship, shared vision, identity, shared norms, trust, cooperation, reciprocity, and common purpose. So this time we're going to talk about the hidden treasure. There are many hidden treasure that we still have to uncover through social capital. So last week I shared about the Starbucks story. Social capital that we created in a small town called Castleton in Indianapolis produced over $500,000 worth of food in less than a year, not including the worth of volunteer hours and the potential resources through the relationship that happened last year. What I mean with that is that the social capital that we have created, the atmosphere that we have created during those times are still producing results because of the interpersonal relationship, the network of relationships that happen, and now because of that, we are still benefiting from that. So it continues on. And this is why social capital is important, and we need to learn the basics. Social capital could be, listen to this, social capital could be worth more than economic capital. Actually, social capital could be a conduit for economic capital. Also, it could be a catalyst for human capital, which that's a recent term now that we've been using in this century. So, so what is now some of the basics of social capital? Because again, once we see that social capital can produce finances, social capital can produce and maybe buildings, in-kind donations such as food, transportation, and we've experienced that in the past. And then the use of the building and also expertise, of many people, such as technology, coming alongside and say, hey, you know what? I can come alongside with this purpose, with this common goal. So, first one is network of relationships. What does that mean? This is a web of relationships that could create better ideas and encourage us working together. So you already have an idea, you have a vision, but that vision can produce more ideas or even better ideas to make it even more effective. Then it encourages working together. So you know that famous quote that no man is an island is very true. You know, I share with pastors that we train and the leaders that we train before is that we have to train our people and for them to understand the deeper meaning of, say, cleaning the streets or giving away food. It's more than just giving away food. Again, in a food pantry, the most important part of food pantry is not food, it's people. But how can the volunteers understand that until we share them the vision and also the reason why we serve, not just how we serve? So let me give you an example. Based on the Bible, Jesus taught us that it is better to work together than being an island for yourself. Jesus built a team of 12 disciples and had relationships with them. He lived with them and he did life with them. So let's take a look at this in Luke 10:1-2. That's what he did. He sent the 12, then he sent the 72, and they came together and they were more productive. Because if we are working together, then we can accomplish more. But how can we work together if there's no relationship, right? And how does relationship start? Is just being available and also a product of social capital or sharing the vision. So Jesus is the master of sharing the vision. Jesus is the master of really grabbing the heart of his listeners, grabbing the heart of the disciples, and then really investing the lives of people into the vision that Jesus has given us. Of course, it's God, but at the same time, this is a model for us as human beings that, hey, Jesus did it. Also, he's 100% human and 100% God, and if that's true, then the things that he does we can also do because he modeled it for us, because he wants to conquer the world, influence the world with kingdom values and beliefs and trust and faith to bring people to the eternal life with him. So another thing is that Apostle Paul paired up with Barnabas and later with Silas. Peter worked with John. These early disciples, I tell you what, these early disciples turned the world upside down. And granted that they don't have a lot of resources, some of them really are really poor or maybe even uneducated, but because of the synergy that happen once you operate in the social capital atmosphere, people are inspired, people are growing, and they can produce massive action and massive results. The story of God is told through the lives of people who collaborate and network. You know that? From early days, from Abraham to Moses, and then to the Israelites, Jacob, and then to the New Testament. The story of God is told through the lives of people who collaborate, network, and work together and have relationships with each other. God used groups of people to change the world and to bring kingdom values and transform the world, the earth that we live. So the next thing is that social capital enables people to cooperate, to unite, and to accomplish common goal. So let me tell you a story about several years ago during the early years of our a ministry. We went to a town called Elizaville, and it's a small town. I tell you, there were just like no more than probably 25, 30 houses in this small community in the middle of cornfield here in Indiana. And I shared the vision of, hey, wouldn't it be great if we can have our neighborhoods come together and then invite the government, invite the businesses to work together for like a neighborhood makeover. So this pastor attended one of our meetings and she got inspired and she said, hey, you know what? We would like to join in, but we just don't have money. So during the meeting, one larger church that were in attendance heard that, and before I knew it, the pastor, a woman of Elizaville, called me and said, "Hey, this church wrote us $1,000 as seed money for our projects, and because of that, things start to snowball." And I told him, I said, "Hey, I'll give you a form letter, write to the mayor of Lebanon, which is the main city, and tell them what you're going to do so that you can ask them if they can bring, the trash bin, the big trash bin, because they were going to demolish, several old buildings that were really dangerous for children. And so they got the trash, but they don't have, the equipment. And then all of a sudden, one neighbor brought, her backhoe, and then also they found out that there was like a demolition. Listen to this. There was, in the small town, there's actually a demolition company, a resident who owned a demolition company, and he said, yeah, I heard what you guys are going to do, and you can see in the picture, it's just like this like alien, that's just like demolishing the building and clearing up, and then using the backhoe to put, the trash in the trash bin, and for the entire week, they did gardening. They come up with these ideas of what their neighborhoods need. That's because, I share the vision with them. I share that, hey, through social capital, so with the relationship that you already have with the community, it's going to benefit. It's not just about your church doing this thing. It's not about Faith, Hope, and Love spearheading this, but it's really about your community, about the children. And actually, they created a project that were led by children. And what they did was that these children start planting little plants in pots. And what they did, they actually gave the plants to all the neighborhood, all the residents in this neighborhood. So now you can only imagine what happened. The whole neighborhood was like on fire. They just see, we haven't seen this in our neighborhood before. We haven't seen that people actually knock on the door and give us, flowers from the hands of the children. That's what this hidden treasure is hidden, because we don't know. And that's why we need to train our people. We need to share the stories of what God can do through us. It's not just so much of what you can do for God, it's actually what God can do through us, through faith. But again, we need to have common sense. We need to train, we need to coach and counsel people that, hey, this had happened, we can do even greater things than this. And that brings and inspire people to do more. So, the next thing is that social capital makes people feel they belong. It's just like in like basic evangelism. Many of us try to have membership for our congregation. Hey, you got to join us. But people wants to belong first. So, they make people that they belong. So once they feel belong, then they're already, part of the church or the organization. And that's the common denominator for that, is that this hidden treasure, once you share with them an ideal future, then they want to belong, they want to participate, they want to invest, they want to be part, engaged and involved in what's going to happen. So because when people feel accepted, they trust others and they want to be a part of that group. They get motivated to put others first before themselves for greater cause. So again, it's the cause that's going to propel them to do more, to think beyond themselves. If you run a nonprofit, you probably know, you have to talk to individuals to raise money. And how do you do that? You share the vision. You share a common goal, something that benefit the community, and then the individual donors feel like, wow, this is where I belong, and I would like to help you out. I want to write check, or I want to invest my time to support the mission of the organization. Let me tell you a quick story, and there was a friend of mine that I met in the early years of Faith, Hope, and Love. I was invited to a men's Bible study. We met every Friday morning. It was like at 6 o'clock, and it's just, oh man, it's just so early for me. But anyway, I went there diligently, and I got to know my friend. My friend is Bob. And during the Bible study, we discuss our ministries, our lives, and what's happening. And because of that, it started to create this bonding and belongingness. And Bob saw it, and he wanted to be part of the mission, and he started writing checks. And then there was a period of time, if you're a founder of a ministry, or an executive director of a nonprofit organization, there are times when money is very tight. Actually, there are many times when money is very tight. And during those early years, I was just like, I don't know what we're gonna do. We may have to close the ministry, so on and so forth. But Bob saw it, the mission, and he said that I belong to the purpose, to the goal of this mission. And he actually almost funded half of what we need, month after month after month, until things start building up again. And why I'm sharing this with you, because those are hidden treasure. We don't want to take advantage of people, but we want to share again the common goals, the reciprocity, those the words that we talk about, the relationship, the network of contacts, because we are serving the same purpose. So even if you work with foundations, the same thing. Once you write the grant, you write your vision, you write your what could happen when you create the social capital, and that's really what's happening now. Recently, I was part of an advisory group of a I think they are Fortune 100 here in the United States, and they funded $2.3 million to a neighborhood. All right, so there were 8 neighborhoods who submitted the grant, and as an advisory council member, I had the privilege and honor to review all the proposals. And what I saw there was that even though they did not mention the social capital, they explain it explicitly of what could happen when people gather together. That especially from the foundation, from the funders, from the grantors, and trustees, they want to see the effect of what you do can influence a community, can influence other partners who will join in, other churches and businesses and even governments to help out this common purpose. And that's the hidden treasure. And again, hopefully these things help you out. We had a phrase called mission trip in your own backyard back in the days with Faith, Hope, and Love. And you heard it in my previous explanation that once we come together, we can accomplish more. We are better together than we are by ourselves. So hopefully this gives you an idea of what the importance of social capital and also what the benefits, but at the same time, not just for your organization, but for the entire community, the entire neighborhood. Because once we gather together, there are hidden treasures around us. Sometimes we don't need to look for them. Just like what I shared, the different stories that I shared with you, is that they will come. They will come if you build relationship, you collaborate, you network, you make people they belong, you share the vision, and before you know it, people are going to start writing checks, giving you buildings, giving you transportation, doing food drives, or providing their expertise in businesses, in nonprofit, in ministry. So again, so that's the hidden treasure, is that social capital that many of us are just looking for the check. Many of us are just looking for like the tangible things, but social capital can produce many intangibles that will later on produce the tangible things, such as the physical building and also people, organizations, foundations writing checks. So hopefully that inspires you, and I encourage you to take a look, study even more deeper as far as the importance of this hidden treasure, which is social capital. So again, God had given us kingdom solutions so that we can provide kingdom resources to the worldly problems. And until then, I'll see you at the next FHL community episodes. God bless you.
Okay, good. 24 minutes.
24.
I watched the news this morning and we saw that this food pantry drive here is giving away food, and with the economy the way it is and situation we're currently going through as well, a personal issue, where money is a little tight, so we definitely wanted to take advantage of it. I'm so glad I did. Had no clue that they were going to have like prayer session, which is, it touched me in a way that I can't even describe, because I needed that prayer in our journey that my husband and I are going through. He was involved in an accident, so we needed that prayer, and the free food we can definitely use. So I'm really glad I took advantage of it, and bless you guys for finding it in your heart to even make something like this happen for us.